Hey, welcome to Midtown Comics TV. I'm Alan Kistler.
I'm Jose Ramos.
And we would have Jennifer, but she's off in Texas or something for a month.
She's actually in Scotland.
It's in Texas, right?
No, it's in Europe.
Since when?
Since forever.
What, like what part of Europe? Like Ireland? What?
It's like Ireland, but different. It's in the UK.
That's the prequel to America, right?
Not everything has continuity, Alan.
I'm just saying, if you're going to have a lot of different countries that I don't visit or go to, you could have like a handbook, some kind of guide with like, you know, appearances and history.
They have that.
Power class.
It's called an atlas. I got it for you for your birthday because we encountered this problem the last time Jen left.
Okay, you know what? I can't talk to you when you're like this. I'm sorry. You can find me in my faux trailer. Thank you.
Well, let's get to the review, shall we?
Transformers 2. It's the new ongoing series. If you didn't follow All Hail Megatron, which led into this new series, basically Megatron had made an assault on Earth. There's a big war, humans and Transformers, Decepticons and Autobots. The Decepticons were defeated, and the Autobots basically proved they were the good guys, so the fact is humans don't care anymore. They just hate Transformers all around. They have blamed them all for the destruction, the death that happened, whether you're a good guy or not. So they've been hiding for a while. Optimus Prime, at the end of the previous issue, turned himself into Earth's government and allowed the Autobots to select a new leader since he believed he hadn't done a good enough job. This issue picks that up, and it's a very personality-heavy issue. There's a lot of character development here. If you aren't familiar with the Transformers, you get an idea of who a lot of them are as they discuss who's going to be in charge now. And if you're an old-school Transformers fan, and you figure it's going to follow the cartoon continuity or anything, the answer at the end of the issue as to who's the new leader may surprise you.
Mighty Avengers issue number 32. More of the Scientist Supreme shows up. Very cool fight scene. A lot of nice back and forth with Quicksilver dealing with his past, his history. New weapons are involved. It's just a good all-around connection issue. If you're waiting to pick up this book and you've been missing out, pick up this one. It's great.
Brave and the Bold, issue 30. Dr. Fate and Green Lantern Hal Jordan. This is how Dr. Fate should always be written. This is a really, really great character-driven story. This is the best, I think, of Straczynski's Brave and the Bold issues so far. If you've never really read a Dr. Fate story before, all you have to know is this guy, Kent Nelson, who's basically one of the most powerful sorcerers on Earth. Bam. It's a really great issue. Check it out.
Dark Avengers number 12. Huge issue. We finally get the background as to what the Sentry's powers are. We get to figure out what's bothering Norman Osborn. Huge issue. If you're following the siege with the Marvel Universe, you have to read this issue. Go get it as soon as you possibly can.
G.I. Joe, issue 12. This is a really fun issue. We just had a long story arc end in the previous issue. This is a single issue story. If you haven't read any of the series so far, you can pick this up, not need to know anything beforehand. It basically features Beachhead and Tripwire on a mission together that involves a lot of action, some grenades, spiders, and crawling around in the dark.
Justice League of America number 40. If you read Identity Crisis, you probably already hate the villain Dr. Light. This issue will only justify that. Lots of really brutal commentary back and forth showing just how evil these Black Lanterns can be, but it's a great read, an awesome issue. Robson definitely proves his chops here. Check it out.
So the latest issue of Captain America Reborn just came out also.
Yes.
In the last issue, the Red Skull took over Captain America's body. We've seen this so many times in sci-fi stories, horror stories, superhero stories, left and right. But we're seeing a different aspect of it now, because it's not just Red Skull in Captain America's body fighting his friends. You actually see that simultaneously the Red Skull's spirit, astral presence, whatever, is fighting the real Captain America, Steve Rogers, in his mind. There are like two battles happening at once. I thought that was a really interesting take, especially because Steve, while the Red Skull is now taking over, is seeing the kind of America, the kind of world that the Red Skull wants. There's Nazi imagery everywhere, the Skull's in charge. It's really frightening for him.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool story, especially seeing how Steve's head works, how fights work for him specifically, and how the Red Skull's using that to his advantage. Phenomenal. It's well written, it's well drawn, it's great.
Yeah.
If I use phenomenal one more time, I might explode.
It's true. You do have that problem. Now,
I do.
The other book that we both read was Incorruptible, #1 by Mark Waid. The idea is that Mark Waid in the series Irredeemable he's doing right now had a Superman-like character, the Plutonian, go insane. Basically become the new ultimate villain that we all were afraid Superman could be if you pushed him the wrong way. So Incorruptible, as a criminal, Max Damage, decide, if the Plutonium's gone that evil, doing things I would never do, maybe I've got some stuff to make up for, maybe I've got to rethink my life, and he becomes a superhero. Or at least he's trying.
Pulling a little bit of the old switcheroo, you get to see sort of the villain's Batcave, seeing how far a villain should be willing to go if he wants to completely switch his life, become a good guy. And I think that was one of the cool parts about Irredeemable, seeing how sort of the incorruptible man becomes so evil, and now we can see the ultimately corrupted guy try to become pure, and it's a very cool issue. It's great.
Well, what's really interesting about that is it's not like he was just a minor villain. It's not like, you know, the looter decided to become a good guy. Usually when a villain decides to become good, the villain wasn't that evil to begin with. Or, you know, like Hawkeye.
Right.
Hawkeye became a hero.
Yeah.
Well, Hawkeye really wasn't a bad guy to begin with.
Yeah.
You know? But Max Damage is an actual villain. He's killed people, he has sex with underage girls, and he's led a gang of criminals on a series of successful robberies.
And one of the best parts, one of the main parts of the story is watching the cops react to seeing him try to help, and they react in the most logical way possible. It's, oh my god, it's him, let's get him.
Yeah, especially because this guy doesn't wear a mask. It's not like he changes his costume and creates a new identity, which I also found interesting. He could have just put on a costume, pretended to be a new superhero. No, he's acknowledging his past. He's letting the world know, I am that same guy, but I'm trying to be better. Really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Mark Waid's work anyway. I think he's doing a really, really cool thing with this book.
Yeah, Mark Waid, not so much evil, good writing. Maybe you should make that a t-shirt this year.
Mark Waid is good writing.
Maybe.
It's grammatically incorrect, but kind of cool.
I like it.
So it's the holidays now, you're thinking, you know, I want to buy a comic for my loved one or my neighbor or the cat, whoever, but they don't know anything about superhero comics and they don't want to get involved with something where they have to read a lot of different continuities and get a history lesson. No problem, there are a lot of trades out there, a lot of series out there that are totally self-contained. Some of them don't even have to do anything with superheroes.
My first pick is going to be Fables. It's following a lot of the characters you read in fairy tales as a child. They're chased out of their homelands by a character called the Adversary, and it shows how they have to deal with living in the real world.
Fallen Angel. This is for anyone who likes Buffy, anyone who liked Witchblade, anyone who just likes to see girls kicking a lot of butt and not apologizing for it. It stars Lee, the fallen angel in question. She lives in a New Orleans kind of demonic town. A lot of dark things happen, both in the supernatural side and just the simple criminal side. She is someone who is dangerous even though she's a good guy.
My other pick is going to be Robert Kirkman's Invincible, published by Image Comics. It's kind of a mixture of Spider-Man and Superboy. If you've never read a superhero comic in your life, you can still pick this up, understand what's going on. It's completely self-contained. Lots of action, romance, drama, everything you want from a good book. So, check these out. You need them in your life.
Have you ever wondered late at night, what if Hunter S. Thompson was alive in a future where nanite technology was actually pretty commonplace? Well, I have. Transmetropolitan is the series that you want to check out. It's a guy, Spider Jerusalem, who is a journalist coming back into action after being retired for a couple of years. He is after the truth no matter what. It explores just human issues across the board, disguised under the veil of the future. It's really dark at times. It's also really poignant. It can be funny, and it can be a little offensive. It's really interesting. It's done by Warren Ellis. Make sure that you start with Back on the Street. This is book 1. You don't want to start with book 0. Read book 0 after you read book 4. Trust me on this. Start with Back on the Street. You'll really like it.
Thanks again for watching us. Don't forget to check out the Midtown Comics podcast, same website, of course, and to check us out at Crazy 60 Geeks, the series, at comicmix.com. See you next time.